Hi, and welcome to ThreatTraq Essentials. We're going to take a look at some everyday cybersecurity tips that we can learn from this week's ThreatTraq stories. I'm here with John Markley, who was on the show this week. How are you doing, John?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Don.
Let's talk about the story which Ganesh brought to us, which was about the effect of Ripple 20 on IoT devices. Tell me what was happening there.
So basically, a company called Trek developed some software that is found on a lot of IoT devices, for the last many years. And so they've identified that there's some vulnerabilities out there with this software, and Ripple 20 is kind of the code name for it. And it's an interesting and very concerning situation going on with IoT right now.
And why is that? What's the danger here?
Well, I think the danger is not only can the devices be compromised in some fashion, but to me, the ability to patch on IoT is always a challenge. And so, you not only can have airlines and control systems and other IoT devices. I mean, heck, you could even, conceptually be like health and medical devices. Those could be compromised, taken over, made to leak data or whatever the vulnerabilities consist of. But then if there is a patch, getting it to those devices is, like I said, always a challenge.
And what can people do to protect themselves?
It's the thing to remember that people forget is that your devices that, things like your cameras, your, again, insulin pumps, things like that, things that are connected devices of some sort have software on them. Just like you patch your computers, your phones, all these other things that we have in the world that we use all the time, you have to remember, check for an update on those devices as well. It's something that don't assume that they're going to get updated automatically. Don't assume that they get patched regularly. You often have to take charge of those yourself.
Now, Tony brought us a story about artificial intelligence being used for malware detection. Tell me about that.
Yeah, Tony and a lot of people like Tony are very excited at VirusTotal, which is a company that's been around for a long time. I believe it's owned by Google now and has been for almost a decade. It has partnered up with a company called Cynet to use their AI to identify and detect, malicious activity in either URLs or files that, that may not fit the normal virus mode that VirusTotal is leveraging with the vendors.
So that's good news. That should lead to better detection, correct?
It should. Like I said, you're using this AI, which is a pretty big name in the industry, and leveraging their machine intelligence to find things that maybe your normal antivirus software wouldn't detect because it doesn't either fit a signature, doesn't fit a model, but machine learning might catch it.
And lastly, you brought us a story about an Office 365 phishing campaign. Tell me about that one.
Yeah, it's kind of a tricky and a neat way to chain a variety of, it's a hard term to use, but I almost call it misconfigurations, in that what we were seeing is campaigns that may find that I have this mail server, for example, that allows me to send mail and pretend to be it or to leverage it, send it to somebody, give them the normal phishing email, they click on it, and then are being redirected through maybe another either compromise or through another misconfiguration. So it's kind of an interesting process flow that goes from, step by step by step, and not only, looks legitimate, but not necessarily something that any normal checks would catch. And the user is going to have to be vigilant.
So tell us, how can they be vigilant?
Yeah, there's a lot of, in the segment we talked about a little bit of it, but the challenge here is look for things that are just out of the ordinary. If you're not normally, in this case, an Office 365 message person, why are you getting this message? Don't click on those links. Or is there typos? Is there word, choice that just looks a little flaky? I've seen even the minor things like a hyphen where it doesn't belong, a capital letter where it doesn't belong. It's just that vigilance to say, if it doesn't look quite right, don't click on the link. Don't trust it. Look for another resource to get that data even if you think it could be legitimate.
Well, thank you, John, for being on the show, and thank you all for watching. If you want to get this great advice every week, please like and subscribe below. And if you want to look deeper into these stories, click on the playlist below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.